Hello, everyone. I'm Laura Rogers. Welcome. This is SharePoint Power Hour. SharePoint Power Hour is a weekly show we do every Wednesday at 11 Central. We just do demos. We just do things that you can do in SharePoint out of the box. A lot of it goes, either SharePoint or Office 365. Most of it can be done in either place. We're not developers. I don't know how to write code, but there's just so much stuff in SharePoint that you can do without having to know code and without having to be a server admin. So today, the thing I'm going to do a demo on is actually does have a little bit more of a specific audience, and it is SQL Server Reporting Services. SSRS is something that you can install. This is an on-prem thing that you can install on a web front end, on a SharePoint web front end, and it basically lets you do reporting. You can report off of SharePoint data or just any other kind of data, and the reports there's an integration where the reports can show up in SharePoint. So this has been around for years. It's been around probably 10 years or so, and I know a ton of people use it. If you don't have it, all you really need is that extra SQL license to be able to install SSRS. You don't have to install a database or anything, just the reporting services on one of your SharePoint web front ends on-prem. Joelle, do you know, have you heard if SSRS is going to Office 365 or Azure?
I haven't.
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything like that.
So let's go ahead and get Joelle, introduce yourself and your latest adventure that you have going on.
Yeah, so as you guys have heard, if you're watching this for the first time, you probably haven't, but as you guys have heard, we are all kind of moving on from Rackspace because Rackspace decided to do away with their SharePoint services. So I am actually still at Rackspace, but I only have a couple days left, and then I am moving over to an awesome consulting company in Atlanta called Co-Designed that focuses a lot on UI and UX, and then also just does regular SharePoint consulting as well. So I'll be working with them soon. And so if you're watching this for the first time, my expertise is usually in taxonomy and information architecture, and also kind of planning migrations, planning new deployments, working with intranets and extranets, doing all that kind of stuff. And I also do all the out-of-the-box things, so all the BI stuff, all the forms and workflows, all of those things as well. And I'm looking for, and SSRS is one thing where I have installed it and I have helped a customer build very simple reports from it, but I haven't done much more than that. So I'm really interested to see what we have going on here, Laura. So I may ask you questions. If you don't know them, it's okay. So you can just say, "Hey, Joel, I don't know the answer to that," and we'll figure it out. But maybe somebody that's watching as well can chime in. But I may just ask some random questions as we go through.
Okay, nice. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if I told you this, Joelle. I'm starting my own company, and since again, like you said, we're not going to be with Rackspace anymore. I just bought iwmentor.com.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
that's really good.
It's up. There's nothing on it, so y'all don't go to it really. Like there's nothing on the webpage yet.
He just owns the domain, guys.
Yeah, but and I just created the Twitter account today, and there's nothing on that either. So, but it's all very exciting. Like I'm just scrambling, to get my own business set up and trying to get the training classes that I was teaching with Rackspace, trying to get those up on the site and get running with all the same stuff I was doing. So yeah, cool.
Awesome.
So let's go. Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen and get this done. Let's see. SSRS, good times. And my husband is on a conference call in the other room and I can hear him. All right. Can you see my screen with the RDP
reports
section?
library? Yeah, I see reports library.
Okay. Now, first of all, I shared a link in the little showcase, just a link to my homepage. And actually, my homepage is actually about to I'm moving it to WordPress. I'm in progress. It's almost ready to go live over in WordPress. It's still going to be wonderlaura.com. So instead of sending you to a specific link in my blog, I just, because if you're watching this tomorrow and my new blog has gone live, just go to wonderlaura.com and go to the SSRS category in there. And I've got several different posts that I've written about just like a little more background on SSRS. And Tavis has done other SSRS demos here in Power Hour too.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go too deep into just background on SSRS and how to install it and stuff like that, but I'm going to just talk to you about some coolness with the report viewer web part, things that you can do to report off of SharePoint data. So I'll go ahead and go through just creating a report really quick off of what I want to show you is this concept of, I could show you several different concepts with several different reports, but I want to show you the ability to see more information about people, because a lot of times, like, we have this task list in SharePoint and we have these people fields that we use all over the place in SharePoint, but a lot of the times when you're filling out a form or when there's information about you in a form, people need to see more information about you, like your department, your phone number, your email address, all that stuff. So there, a lot of times people get you to fill that out, like using the user profile service, automatically populate that in your info path form that you're filling out. But, I like to, that information is already there. It's already an Active Directory. So this is just, I'm going to show you another way that we can just tap into that information. And this is what I'm going to do is related to a blog post I wrote like 4 years ago called Display User Data Fields for a SharePoint List. So I'm going to walk you through just how easy it is to create a report once you have SSRS installed. And then and you'll be able to see just some additional coolness with how you can pull in like related list information. So in this case, the related lists are going to be this task list with this assigned to field, and and the assigned to is a person. It's going to be related to just the person, just the user profile of that person. And that's going to be, there's a user information list that exists at the site collection level. And so that's what we're going to match up is the person's name so that we can get additional information about them, like the department they're in. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be getting their department. All right, so I will go to, this is a library. The only things I just created as a normal document library. The only thing special about it is I have put these report builder, report and data source content types in there. I didn't create any kind of special site template, any kind of special library. I didn't use like the report library. I just created a regular document library and put these content types in it. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to take a second actually for report builder to open because it's got to launch. So hopefully I'll try and remember to leave it open and not have to do this several times. Okay. Now, the first thing I see when I am building a report is, again, I didn't want to waste too much time going into data sources and data sets and stuff. So I'm kind of going to fast forward. I already created my data sets and data source. The data source is just the SharePoint site. And then the data sets are like subsets of information like tasks and user info. Those are called data sets. All right, new report. I'll just do a table or matrix. There's a little chart wizard too. If you want to do a little chart, maybe we'll have time to do that as well. I will go ahead and pick tasks as my data set. And then I'm going to pull in the name of the task. I'm not going to do anything fancy with grouping or anything today. But I mean, of course, you could spend hours having a good time with all kinds of fun ways that you can do reporting. This demo is going to be more about the data. And then assign to, all right. Okay, now I'm just going to put those in a list. Sure, yeah, okay, what color? How about forest? And cool tasks. Give it a pretty little title. Now I can also, this is just a table in here, it's just visual. So I could take other fields, like if I wanted to say creating, I could just drag them over and it would add them to my table later. So I can do that if I want to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another data set, and that's going to be my user info list. And there, so it says data set 1. Let me just call it user like that. And that's my user information list. So it's got like a bunch of information about people's names and departments and job titles and stuff. That's off of that site collection. Again, the user information list in your site collection is just always going to be people who have already visited the site. So it's not automatically going to have everybody in your company listed in there. Just FYI when you're dealing with that one. All right, so let's just see what it looks like real quick. I'm not going to do anything fancy with the user info list. I'm just going to show you what it looks like just now. It's going to look like these are the tasks. So this is, my task list over here. So the report it's kind of clunky. It's kind of mashed together, but it's just a list of all my tasks straight off my task list. And I can go back to the design mode like that. And I could take like this column and widen it. I could do cool things with conditional formatting. So let's go ahead and do the part with getting that matching user information in there. All right, I'm going to, add a couple more columns. There are so many places to click in Report Builder.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Like you just keep finding things. And then this is the part that's a little, not as obvious. I actually have to type an expression to do the lookup. If you have older versions of like this is SQL Server 2012, I think older versions of SQL Server are not going to have this particular lookup expression. So let's see, let's look up. And this is where I'm going to match the two things. And in my blog post, it explains, like it defines what all these different things are that I'm using in here. So I'll say assign to value. Oops. This is going to be the name of the person that's going to match the assigned to. And this is going to be the additional field that I want to pull over. And then this is the name of the other data set. I think I got that typed in correctly. Let's see. And let's see what happens when I click run. Oh, look how cool. So that font is so ugly. Let's see if I can just quickly change the font. Yeah. What's that one called that I like? Yeah, that one. Something that's sans serif is the best. Just a pet peeve. Okay. All right, and then I can put a title on here. Assignee department, like that. Oops. And then that one was a little kind of narrow. Okay, so let's see. So it looks a little nicer. All right, so that's just, creating a report. So I'll go ahead and hit save. And I have to go pick what library. So I'm just going to do task demo. All right, so what I want to show you next is the report builder web part. And oh, you guys, I forgot to mention, you guys who are watching live, you can ask questions in the Q&A. If you're watching this in YouTube, you can click the little link to take you over to the Google Hangout. The Google Hangout will have a little icon of some little squares at the top right. You can click that to be able to switch between apps. So the Q&A app is just another app that you can switch to. So you guys can ask questions live as we go. And I guess, Joelle, let me know if you see any of them pop up as I'm blabbing on and on.
Yeah.
Okay, so my report is created and I saved it. So now, and I'm not going to close Report Builder just because it takes a minute to open it. So now there's my report. So now when just any users go look at the report, this is what it looks like. It just renders in the web and it looks like that. Pretty simple so far. So what I can do is I'm just going to clean everything off of my home page here and just get rid of all this junk. And then I'm going to put the report builder and show you some additional things we can do with it. It's got parameters and all kinds of fun stuff. So insert web part. And you're only going to have this if you have SSRS. But again, if you're on-prem, I recommend you get this implemented. It's very, very powerful. Yeah, save my changes. Okay, let me make sure, save that. I hate wiki pages. Have I ever mentioned that? You never know. Okay, so all I have to do now, so this web part that I'm displaying the report in doesn't even have to be on the same site where I'm keeping my reports. I can be displaying it somewhere else as long as people have the ability to view the reports, just the permissions to be able to do that. So I'll go to reports. This is the one I just created, and then click apply. Oh, look how cool. So now my report is in a web part on the page. So you could do all kinds of cool stuff with dashboards and charts and coolness, and just make it look very pretty and fancy with all your information displaying in the report viewer on your home page. Does anybody watching think that's cool? I know y'all are there. If not, say no, or say something. All right. So then Hyperlink Target is interesting because if you have hyperlinks in your report, that's going to say where they open up. At one of my blog posts that I wrote, so this is the one that I was, oops, let's see, is this the right one? Yeah. So this is the one that I was talking about that I was just going through with the user data fields that we just did. The other one was, let's see, let me go to my SSRS category. Another one that I was going to show you is the hyperlink. So that's where that would come into play. So then you can create a hyperlink in your report that would just, open up the item. So it's got like there's some little buggy things. So I've got some little nuances that it goes through in do this funkiness to be able to create the hyperlink so that it works correctly, because there's just like some bugs around that. So that's what it means by hyperlink. All right, let me go back to my site. Okay. I also have view this. Now you'll notice this looks a little familiar. Does this look a little bit like maybe another web part that you've seen, Joelle?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks kind of like the Excel services web part. When you're displaying spreadsheets on a page, it's got a lot of additional information. If you want to take things away that you don't want people to do, there's a lot of information that you can set up in there. So, I can move the toolbar to the bottom. That's a little weird. But again, you can just uncheck things if you don't want them to be available. Parameters is very cool. So we haven't created any parameters in our report, but that's what we're going to do next. All right, let me save that.
Yeah, and if you just think about how that could be used, you could easily roll up the tasks for like a project manager that is overseeing other project managers. So like some kind of like PMO type thing. You could roll up the tasks. They could easily go there and see, across the entire organization, okay, by this department or by this team, and with graphs and all that good stuff. So it could be very, very helpful.
Yeah. And all it costs, again, it's only for on-prem, but all it costs is the cost of that one SQL license on your web front end.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing we're going to do is a parameter. So I'm going to go back to my little design view here. And I might be a little rusty on this. It's been a couple of years. So I'm going to add a parameter. And I'm going to do, let me go back to, I'm going to get my other blog posts like up in front of me in case I screwed up. All right. I'm going to call this department like that. And I'm going to say it's text. So what the goal now is going to be, I want to be able to pass the name of the department to the department value in the list here, in the list of tasks, so that like department information coming from another web part or department of the current user can automatically filter to show that data for that department. So think about all kinds of information you might have, like sales data, or regional, whatever your business is that you do, that might be divided up by, you have different data for different departments, and you just want people to see stuff that's relevant to them. So I'm going to say this is visible for now. Let's see. I'm going to tell my husband to turn his conference call down.
Be quiet.
Okay. We're both working from home today. Fun times. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create this parameter. I'm recording. I'm on Power Hour, and it's very loud. Okay, so this is the department field. And so I made it so it's visible. So like when we run it, it's going to be something that's visible on here, like see department. But it doesn't really do anything yet. So what I want to do is make it so that it actually does something. So first of all, I need to make the department parameter so that when I fill it in, it actually sends a filter value to the department field itself. And then I also need to make it so that it is something that I can choose, that is available in the web part that I can use there. All right, so I created the parameter. Now let me go see. Okay, this is going to be, so the whole thing, the whole department field is going to be filtered by that parameter whenever I type a parameter in here. All right, so first of all, let me see. I've got to put a filter on it. I think I put my filter here. Yeah. Okay. Expression blank equals blank. Okay. It's the expression where the department, now department is not in my task list, so that's going to be really complicated. So let me make sure I get this correctly done with, without having a big complicated expression. First, I'm going to go through some sort of troubleshooting steps. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to, first of all, just make sure it works, and by just using the status field, because I know that's just text. I know what the values are. Does that make sense? So I'm going to say filter it so the task status equals, and then just this parameter that I created. All right, so then when I go run it, I should be able to type, I know it still says department, but let's see. Completed, and look at that. So now it's showing completed tasks. Cool, I'm impressed with myself that I remember to do that. Woohoo, okay. Now I'm going to, and there are different places you can filter this too, that once you get to the more advanced reporting and reporting off of millions and millions of rows and things like that, there are definitely more things that you can do when it comes to like making it more efficient and improving the performance. So I can put a filter on the data set itself so that it doesn't even get to the report. Because what I'm doing right now is I'm just putting a filter on this little chart, this little table here. But you can put a filter on the entire data set as well. So I'm just going to do that right here though. And I'm going to take this expression that I have in here, and I'm pretty sure I need to be able to use that in my filter. Does that make sense? All right, yeah. Let's see. Tablix properties. It's called a tablix, but it's kind of like a table. All right, filters. So this is where it's going to be that big long thing for the department equals department. So that that equals my parameter. Let's see if that works. I'll put IT. No, it didn't. Yeah.
I think you spelled it out, though. It was information technology.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, thanks. I don't have much confidence, do I? Oh my gosh, it worked. Woohoo. another woo moment. Okay, now, and it doesn't need to be a drop-down box for department or anything because it's going to be hidden. It's not going to be something that is going to be seen. Now, I think that there's something additional that I need to do, like to make this not hidden but internal, because I don't want it to show anywhere. I don't want it to show like on the report in the web part, but I'm going to do that later because I just want to make sure that it's working first. So I'll just hit save, I don't have to publish this or anything. It's just like a file. I'm just hitting save. So now I go back to my home page and see it says specify parameter values because I don't have any information in there yet. See, and it has this whole little pane here. So that's the thing that I'm ultimately going to want to hide. Now, first of all, I want to be able to automatically send information. And let's just say I want the currently logged in user to see information about the department that they're in for this report. And don't, think beyond tasks. All I have in here is a list of tasks, but think about like bigger sets of and types of data that you might have. So you guys that are in the little Q&A, I know there are 18 of you there. Just, feel free to shout out some ideas you have about things, potentially types of reports maybe that people would need to see by department or region or something like that. All right, I'm going to insert don't you love inserting filter web parts onto a wiki page, Joelle? It's just the most fun thing ever. So I'm going to put the current user filter. And then when you do this, it disappears and you can't see it. And the trick is to go hit edit web part on another web part. And then there's your current user filter, of course, right? So what do I want? What do I want about the current user filter, about the current user? I wrote a whole other blog post about testing the current user filter web part to kind of talk about this information and how to be able to tell what's in there. I'm going to use departments. Where is that? Here it is. I don't know why there are two in there. I'll just have to try one. And I'll just call this current user. Okay. And apply. And of course, a filter web part is not going to do anything until it's connected to something. I haven't created a connection yet. So I'm going to go edit this other report builder report viewer web part, and I have to load the parameter. So it just doesn't see it yet for some reason. I don't know why you have to do that, but you have to load the parameter. So I'm going to load the parameter, and let's see if I can. Now that it's loaded, now I can create the data connection, I think. I mean the web part connection. Oh, allow pop-ups. And go. Okay, look at that. Current user department, filtered parameter department, finish. And I think that's right. Oh, department cannot be null. Okay, let's see. Okay, so maybe I picked the wrong department value for the current user. That's another one of those things that I was talking about that, that I demoed in my little testing the current user filter web part. And I'll show you what that is real quick. So what I'm going to do is just put another web part on the page. And just to kind of show you how this works, if you're using the current filter web part and you can't tell what value is in it, is just to be able to pass that information to a text filter just to visually see what is in there. Just to know, I mean, you're not going to use this like in the real world. You're not going to use that information like that, but you just want to be able to see. So there's no value in there. There's no name of a department. So I'll go ahead and go to my current user filter. And then we did a whole power hour on all the filter web parts too, I think. So let's go to this other department one and click OK. And I'm just going to save my page and refresh it so it will get like whatever the new, yeah. That's the good thing about wiki pages. It's just they randomly don't let you save things when you make too many changes at once.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, no, yeah, that disappeared.
Oh, man.
So you guys remember that there are similar concepts to this. With the Excel web access web part too. You can do these same things. You can pass parameters to Excel spreadsheets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Joelle did a couple of really good power hours.
Yep. Yeah, in the early days, there's some power hours on that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to save that before I go and make the next change. It's just so it doesn't lose it. Now I'm going to go. As soon as I hit edit web part there, see the current user filter appears again. And now I'm going to change it to let me change it to a different one and just see what the value is there. I'll put manager. It should be, let me refresh my page and see if it shows manager name. No. Oh, I'm logged in a system account. That's what it is. Oh, okay. I'm going to, that's why it never was recognized. System account doesn't have anything.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just go to my, see if I can go to the site and log in as me. Sorry about that, y'all. Because I know I filled in departments for everybody. Okay. No, it's still trying to take this out of the trusted sites. And all right, let me try that again. Everybody's very quiet today. Maybe a lot of people don't have SSRS.
It could be.
God, it still thinks it's system account.
Do you have another browser?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Internet options, local intranet. Aha, prompt for username and password is what I'll do. Okay, there we go.
Woohoo.
Let's see. I have no idea what the password is. Because this is just like a temporary server that I spun up.
Yeah.
All right, I got it. I'm going to do this. You can just talk for a minute. Let's see.
Okay.
Because I have the Active Directory server. I can just go log into that too.
Change the password.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see if we have anything in QA. If you guys are out there, just say hello. What are some of the other, Laura, what are some of the other topics that you had people asking about on the last Power Hour?
Last Power Hour I did the workflow Q&A.
Yeah.
And I of course, like as always, I thought it wouldn't be that much and then I ran out of time. I got a couple of people asking me other random things about workflows, but I don't remember what they were off the top of my head. Do you know of, any common things that you've been seeing lately as far as patterns around that, around workflows? Or
I've seen people really starting to dig into like the dictionary and the web service stuff that you can do in workflow management with 2013 workflows now.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because you can actually, it's basically like having, if you know what you're doing and you can, find the right resources online, which there's a lot of stuff out there. As a non-developer, you can do things that couldn't be done unless you had Visual Studio and were a developer before. So it's some of that stuff. I think that's been one of the bigger things that I've seen with workflows recently.
Oh yeah. So look at the screen real quick, and that's one that I did. The workflow loop through multiple SharePoint items, but you could do that web service thing with just, any SharePoint web service. So you could really go to town and have a lot of fun with some of that stuff, like the site data web service, the list web service, alerts, just all kinds of stuff that exists like that. All right. I think I got my account straightened out. Oh, and now I have to give myself access to it. Awesome.
That'd be helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a good thing to show when people are curious about SharePoint security.
Now it's asking me as an admin to log back in. Oh my goodness. I'm going to strangle this computer. The poor browser is getting so confused at this point. I mean, it has no idea what's going on because, you know, now that I log in as administrator, it's going to think that that applies to everything. All right. Okay. Permissions. Okay, I got to give Laura permission to this. I think I'll make her an owner.
Ooh, lots of power.
Watch out. Yeah. I should have just made myself a site collection admin. We'll see. We'll see if that affects anything. All right. Let me just go back to the root and just refresh that. Ta-da. Okay, now.
There we go.
Okay, so it's showing. Remember I changed it to manager on the text filter? So now I'll go ahead. Apparently my manager's name is Jeff. I'll go ahead and edit this again, and I'll change it back to department and just make sure that looks okay. I've done that before. Have you done that before with like system account when you're doing stuff with workflows and stuff and you can't figure out why the workflow's not running? It's because you're logged in as system account.
Yep. Plenty of times.
Why is there no user profile data? Oh. Okay, so now I changed it to department, but I just have to be able to save and refresh the page so that it gets that new information. Okay, so that's not the department field. And you remember there were two of them and I was just going to try both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, not that text filter. So funny because I 10 minutes before this thing started, I realized that I didn't have a user profile service. All right, so now information technology is in the value it needs to be in, but it's just not being passed to the web part yet. All right, so I don't really need the text filter web part anymore. It's not really important. Let's just delete that. But then I can go back into here and I want to make this have my current user filter information. Let's see. I just can't remember what this setting is supposed to be. I think that it's supposed to be like the internal. I have to change it to be like an internal. Yeah, let's see. And that user information list error very well could have something to do with like my permissions or something like that too.
Yeah.
But that's never happened before. All right. So let me make sure that I can type information technology. Oh yeah, interesting. All right, so I'm going to make myself a site collection admin. That's really good to know, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. So user information, user info is not usually something that only site collection admins can get to, but that's going to be really interesting if that ends up being what the problem is. All right, let's see. You know what? I'm going to try not opening it in the web part and just open it in the report library as me.
As Laura.
Okay, that works. A little breadcrumb trail up here too.
Yep.
Okay, now let's type it in here. The next thing I'm going to do is go over to the report. And yeah, so that looks like it's that's not good. If only the site collection admins can get to that information, that doesn't make much sense. Okay, I'll have to just double check that later. What I want the takeaway here to be is just not necessarily the fact that it's the user information list, but the fact that you can have relationships between multiple lists and have specific information about like a department or a region and have it show related to what the currently logged in user is. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my parameter properties and I'll say allow null just in case there's somebody out there who doesn't have a department name in their user profile. And instead of hidden, I'm going to put it as internal and hit save. And then we'll go back to the home page and see if that makes a difference. All right. That's fine. I expected that. And get that information here. Okay. I'm going to go send filter value to. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so it's not even showing it, probably because I didn't click to load it. Okay, so this is what, okay, remember the internal versus hidden thing?
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think that's related to that because it's not available at all. All right, back over here. This is everything I do in SharePoint, Joelle, is I just keep playing around and trying stuff and just changing settings until it works pretty much.
I think that's just what you have to do with SharePoint.
Oh, prompt again. Okay. I'm going to put the prompt as like a little bit different so we can see if that's what the thing that pops up in the little web part connection thing is.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to just refresh this whole thing. And of course it's missing a parameter. See, it's missing a parameter, but prompting for it has been disabled. That's because I made it hidden. No feedback from anybody, huh?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. See, it says no parameter. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Good thing I still just have Report Builder pulled up and I can just keep changing things. So what I did was I changed it to allow null and I changed it to internal at the same time. So, you know, bad thing about testing when you do testing is not to change multiple things at the same time. You're trying to troubleshoot something. That's what I did. All right. Okay, I've got to load my parameters. Tavis is probably watching this going, like shaking his head because
what are you doing?
Yeah. He's more of like he's a total guru when it comes to all that, just everything having to do with the data and just amazing with, you know, the tables and data and making it work and organizing it and doing really cool things with reports. But he never did a demo on this particular like web part. So
yeah.
Parameter validation failed. Is not possible to provide valid values for all parameters.
Oh, so I just got a message from our friend Carlos that
really?
Yeah, that the QA is not active on this one.
It's not? Huh.
Yeah.
He said it doesn't.
He said that's probably why it's so quiet.
Oh, okay. That's
Thanks,
funny.
Carlos.
Yeah. The little button in the Google Hangout before I kicked this off was lit up, and
maybe it's just down.
I don't know if it lets you change that kind of thing after you're up and running.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can go look and see if I can figure it out.
Yeah. But I'm on my account, not yours, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think you are.
Okay.
You are.
All right. Yeah, I think it worked last time. So yeah, Google Hangouts, they keep changing stuff all the time. I guess you guys can ask us questions via Twitter.
Yeah, I'll go open it. Yeah, just do hashtag SharePoint Power Hour. I'll go out there and take a look.
Cool. Okay. That explains why everybody's so quiet, because everybody's not usually that quiet. Okay. Yeah. Now, thanks, Tim. Tim said the same thing. I wasn't looking at Twitter, Tim, so thanks. Appreciate it. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to these parameter properties. There we go. But I can put a default value of I think, well, accounting. I think that's a good one. All right. I'm going to put a default value in here. There's all kinds of fancy stuff you can do with the parameters too, as far as what the default vault values are, etc. But I'm still just trying to do this thing with making the web part work correctly. Okay, look at that. Okay, so the default value is accounting, and it's just showing the accounting people there, the accounting people's tasks. And I think let me go add the other web part back. Current user filter. I actually put a video, like one of the posts, one of my blog posts in here that I was mentioning. I did a whole, like, it's a video of me doing like an hour-long presentation about this stuff and doing the parameters and everything, I believe.
Cool.
Okay, now let's see if I don't think it'll allow me to send the parameter until I load the parameters, but yeah, no, maybe it will. Ooh, there we go. Oh, it worked, Joelle. All right, so what did I do? Okay, so what did I do? What I did was I put a default value in there. That seemed to help. And I also didn't go into the web part and click the load parameters button before I tried to create the connection. I just created the connection. So now it doesn't show the parameter. It automatically knows that I don't need it to show the parameter. See, and it just automatically shows me the tasks related to the currently logged in users department. Now, another thing that you can do with reports is the first thing I'm going to do. I know we've only got 10 minutes, but I want to show you how quick and easy it is to create a chart. I'm going to do a new report. Chart wizard. New chart wizard. And I'm going to do it off of the task list. I'll do a pie chart. And I'm going to do my priority in here as the categories. And then I'll have like whatever all the tasks are as the values. Let's just see what that looks like. All fields in a chart value. Let's have an aggregate function. I'll just put ID then. Okay. That looks nice. Mahogany. Let's just run that and see what it looks like.
Mahogany.
So these are the priorities. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, very cool.
So I have this many. Look, it was like 4 clicks. I have this many just normal priority. And then I have this many high and this many, not many low priority. And there are different things that you can do in here, like show data labels, make it, which would actually have the number in there. See, like that. So it shows me the numbers. Well, actually, those look like those are probably the IDs, like the sum of the IDs. I don't really need to sum the IDs, but I would need to do like count those actually. So and just different little things I could tweak in here. So instead of sum, let's count the IDs. That probably, yeah, see, that makes much more sense. And then I'll just save that and put it on my, put it right in my report library, call it chart. Like that. All right, another cool thing that you can do, now I'm not sure if this is even set up on the server because it's kind of a, it's a little lesser used concept in here, is with the reports, you can actually do what's called subscriptions in here. So I can do a subscription to each report. Now these are really cool. All right, I can have subscriptions, and the new data-driven subscriptions are newer with like the, I think it's SQL Server 2012, and with, I think that's what it comes with. So what you can do is you can say, how do you want the file to be delivered? Where do I want it to go? Do I want this report to go to a file share? Do I want it to go to a document library? Where do I want it to go? And so I can say what document library I want it to go to. So I can have a document library called like IT. I can have a document library called human resources, whatever it is, and I can have like different parameters get spit out automatically to different libraries or even different sites. So I can have like, I know documents is a library that's already in there. Like that. So I'm going to say I want it to get delivered to this library called documents. This is going to be the name of the file, and I'm going to call it HR because it's going to have, I'm going to use the human resources parameter, HR tasks. And again, think about this as like any kind of just your company data that you might have. It's going to get spit out. Look at all these different ways that I can spit the file out. I can just make it generate a PDF file of my report or a CSV, Excel, HTML, like all this kind of stuff. So I'll just do a PDF, and then you can use versioning. So override existing file or create new version, or I can even make it create it with a new name every time. Or you know, what's my delivery event? And then I can say I want it to run on a particular schedule, which I haven't created any schedules yet. I'll just do one right here. 8 a.m. every, yeah, I'll just do that. 8 a.m. every Monday. So it depends on how often your data changes as to what you'd want your schedule to be. But if you have some common schedules, you're going to go to site settings, and you're going to have a whole section in site settings for reporting. And that's where you're going to be able to set up what your shared schedules are. So I just want this one report. I just have it going at 8 a.m. And then I can do, instead of using the report default value of accounting, then I'm going to use human resources. And I'm going to call that, click OK. So you would create a separate subscription for each different department, like each different parameter. You can have them all go to different libraries, maybe that people have different permissions to. So, and I'm going to go ahead and just stop. I don't know what's wrong with the one of the extension parameters is not valid. The delivery path is either not a SharePoint document library folder, or it does not exist in the SharePoint farm. Shared documents, that's what it was. Shared %20. There we go. I'll just do OK again. I think it worked. The SQL agent service. See, it's the subscription thing is very nuanced and very like finicky. And so there's always going to be little weird stuff. If I'd never run this before, I had a feeling that going in here, it would give me an error. But at least you guys got to see some of these concepts. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. All right, so kind of what I wanted to demonstrate here with the subscription thing is, think about it. You could have a site, you could have multiple sites. So you can have all these different sites in SharePoint that, you know, maybe for different departments that different people have access to. Like if I'm in IT, I only have access to the IT site. And then you could have your reports could just exist like in some central location somewhere that maybe only like the report building person has access to. But what they're going to do is you can create the subscriptions that you could create a separate subscription for each parameter. And that way, automatically at 8 a.m. every Monday, that PDF of just the HR data goes over to the HR sites library, and the PDF of the IT data goes over to the IT site library. So you can see how this could be really useful to just make it so that it's very secure. So nobody has to have access to the data. Nobody has to have access to the report that has all the data in it. They're just going to get a PDF of just their stuff that they need. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yeah, I'll have to figure out why the little Q&A thing wasn't working this time, but
yeah, I got that SharePoint Power Hour hashtag out there, so we can use that in the future. It's a little long. It's a little lengthy of a hashtag, but it'll work.
Yeah. So Tim's the only one that tweeted with it, but they wouldn't. Nobody had any questions that they put out there.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay. Well, who knows? I could have accidentally turned it off or something, but there isn't any way that's obvious once you're in the Google Hangout to turn it back on.
Yeah.
So Joelle, you can pretend you're the audience and let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I think it's great. It's definitely that subscription service. I could see I've had that come up as a requirement many times to have like a report that's kind of generated and sent somewhere. So I think that kind of thing makes a lot of sense once
Yeah.
you figure out. I mean, and SSRS works really, really well once you get in there and get all the quirks worked out. It's a great tool, definitely.
Yep. Also, another thing end users can do is when they're looking at their report, they can go hit export and they can go subscribe to it themselves and just say, hey, I want to get an email every morning. Or like, I don't have email. There's no email server set up in this farm, but email is usually a delivery as well. Now, I'm kind of against having that all go to email. Like, I just want them to be able to all go to that one place and not clutter up their email with that stuff. But data alerts are something that are fairly new, and those are really, really cool. Those let you create an alert based on something happening in the data. And again, with this one, that might have to do with the SQL Server agent service not running on my server. But that's it. You know, you could say, like, if priority is high and status is not completed or something like that, send me an alert. So a data alert is based on specific data in there getting triggered.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to just subscribing, which just gives you and sends you an email every morning or every week or whatever, or puts it in a library.
Yep.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. And of course I was clicking around on my screen and forgot I wasn't sharing it, but it's just on the little actions drop down, just right on the report. That's where I was talking about, where people can export it to just any of those different formats they want to. Just end users can do that. And just like in Excel, you can turn some of those things off in the web part if you don't want people seeing that. All righty. I will let you go. I'll figure out why the Q&A wasn't working next time I do this. I don't know what I'm doing next week. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, I'm going to think too. I might do something.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.